Hi, my name is John Rindy, and I'm Director of the Office of Career Services here at Slippery Rock University. And I'd like to start by welcoming you to the Rock for this Megabus presentation. Sorry we couldn't be there in person today. We have a full slate of students, especially as we get toward the end of each semester. A lot of students want to come in for things like mock interviews and resumes and cover letters and more traditional later in your college career kind of items. I wanted to cover maybe a few things with you today that I hope will help you as you consider your major and your future career choices. So I'm going to just mention a few things about choosing a major and choosing your career path. Out there, of course, there's dozens of majors at most colleges and universities, including here at the Rock. But there are hundreds, maybe thousands of occupations that you can do. And just because you have a degree in communication doesn't mean you have to be a communication worker. There are just dozens and dozens of jobs that you can do with a communication degree, for example. So we hope that you explore the facts and turn to some of the folks who have experience in these matters before you make those choices so that your choices are data informed. Here's an interesting story I like to tell. There's a picture of my dad, Gene Rindy. Now take a look at his resume on the left-hand side. He graduated from Sharon High School, Sharon, Pennsylvania, went into the Air Force, worked at Sharon Steel for a couple of years, and then 37 years for Bell of Pennsylvania. That all happened, over, more than 40 years. I'm 45, and so I've been in the job market for about 27 years. Take a look at my resume, where I was graduated from high school, earned an associate's at YSU, worked for Corning for 12 years, earned a Bachelor of Science, worked for Prime Care as a corporate officer for 4 years, earned my master's at YSU, worked for American Analytical, US Micro. Then I got into higher ed for 6 years at Teal, and then came to the Rock, where I am today. The point here is that people always ask you, what are you going to be? What do you want to be when you grow up? I was asked the same question. But that question is not as valid today because, as you can see from my resume, you're going to be many things. And so it's important to prepare to be many things. So when you're sitting in those English classes, your philosophy classes, your history classes, those first years of college, now you kind of know why, because you need to be prepared to be many things during your career. So after a lot of years in the business world and in higher education, I have a lot of things that I know and I have a lot of things that I can talk about. That's wisdom and experience. But I didn't have that when I had made my first major choice. Usually I ask the group to guess my first major. I'll tell you, I was going to be a band director. For the first 3 years in college, I was going to be a band director. After 3 years, I decided I loved music, but I didn't love studying it. Just because you're passionate about a certain area doesn't mean you should be majoring in college. It takes a lot more to choose a major, not just interests, but also your abilities, your values, and your personality. So, who are people with wisdom and experience you can turn to help make these decisions? Parents and guardians, teachers and your guidance counselors, professionals, people who are already working out in the field. Maybe you could job shadow some people to see if this is something you would like to do every day of your life. And of course, friends and relatives. I guess what I'm saying is that it's okay not to know your major coming out of high school. It's okay not to know your career path. So, what is the difference between a major, an occupation, and a career? Well, a major is what you study in college. An occupation is what you're doing right now. I am Director of Career Services at Slippery Rock University. That's my occupation. My career has spanned about 20 plus years and has been in industry, analytical sciences, and then in higher education. Here are some of the reasons that I would really like you to consider turning to those who have lived, who have experienced all of this before you make a major choice or a career pathway choice. First of all, 15 to 40% of first year students, depending upon what university or college you attend, enter college as exploratory. That's actually good because then that gives you the first year to decide what to major in and what your career pathway might be. However, keep in mind, 70% of college students will change their major. 7 out of 10. On average, each college student that changes majors 3.2 times. And something even more alarming, 70% of students who reach their senior year do not have a plan B. So we hear from a lot of students that they're going to go back to their hometown and have a certain job because they heard somebody's going to retire. That may or may not happen. You need to dream up 2 or 3 or 4 different occupations that would be dream jobs for you. There is no such thing as one dream job. It's what you make of it and how you prepare, not only in class, by taking on volunteer opportunities, study abroad, taking on leadership opportunities, athletics, intramurals, and all those things put together help to build the whole person. I've mentioned the word exploratory a few times. Let me talk about that just for a moment. Some colleges still call this undecided. We see that as a negative sounding term at Slippery Rock, so we use the word exploratory because you're using that first year to sort of explore what's out there and take advantages of some of the resources here that exist to help you make important decisions. Remember that the courses that you take, even if it's just basic English classes, math, history, political science, they still count toward graduation. So it's not like you're wasting time or spinning your wheels. Exploratory is nice because you don't have a sense of failure. After 3 years of trying to be a band director, I felt that somehow I failed myself when I decided not to go into music. You are often linked to critical services when you are an exploratory student. They know that you're seeking assistance in choosing majors and career pathways, so there are folks at the university or at the college who help link you to important services that can help you make those decisions. It gives you time to think and make an informed decision, and that is data informed. In the Career Services Office, we can measure all sorts of things about your personality and your interests. I'll talk about that in a minute. Keep in mind one important thing though. Coming in as an exploratory student at not declaring a major your first year might extend your stay in college if you are going to study in medical careers or in teaching careers. Usually in things like pre-med, pre-physical therapy, teaching, you really need to declare the first year so that you can be on track, taking the right classes that first year. You can still switch to those majors, but it usually means you're going to be here for a 9th or 10th semester. So what happens when you take advantage of services like career services? If you visit us here in the Office of Career Services at Slippery Rock, we take time to understand things like your personality, your interests, your values, and your abilities. Now those should sound familiar because I said those are some of the things that should go in to making decisions about major choices and career pathway choices. But until we talk about them, until we measure them, your decision is not going to be data informed. I recommend that you also visit an online tool called ONET. If you just Google ONET, you'll find it's a valuable tool. You can type in any occupation you like, say geographer or geologist, into the search box, and it will tell you everything you'd like to know about that occupation, including things like what is the average salary, what is the job outlook for that occupation through 2018, the tasks that you would engage in that occupation. The information is virtually endless, and it aggregates all that data into one convenient place. So Google ONET and spend some time exploring that. Make sure you work with your guidance office while you're doing that. And then once you're at college, work with your college career services office. As you're touring different colleges and universities, be sure to ask, do you have an exploratory program where I can take the first year to make these decisions? When do I have to declare a major? Is that during the first year or is that during the sophomore year? Who helps with choosing my major? Here at Slippery Rock, faculty, your advisors, and career services can all help with those data-informed decisions. Now, what about getting a job at the end of the road? While you are experiencing your life at college, there are so many things that are going to be open to you. I know my son's considering doing a study abroad just in the upcoming spring. Here is a list of what employers want in college graduates. This is a study done by the National Association of Colleges and Employers each year, and each year the list looks very similar. Verbal communication skills is number 1. A strong work ethic, willingness to work past 5 o'clock sometimes, for example. Teamwork skills, the ability to analyze things. Initiative, that's doing things without being told. Problem solving skills, written communication skills, and so on. These are the types of skills you're going to pick up from doing things like engaging in leadership opportunities, doing a study abroad, creating a team and taking it into the intramurals program at your school, taking a leadership role in a student organization or a professional organization, doing volunteer and service learning work, and of course, doing an internship or attending your classes. So consider this as you move forward. These are skills you need to build because just having a 4.0 in college is not enough to get a job anymore. You need these transferable skills. Well, I think my time is up, but before I go, I want to ask you one last question. Who are you going to be? You're so used to being asked what you're going to be, but who are you going to be? Those humanistic skills that I showed on the last slide are going to help determine who you're going to be. As far as what you're going to be many things. Just make sure you turn to career services at your college or university to help prepare you for the future. If you need to get a hold of me, there's my contact information. You're welcome to email me at any time. Good luck in your college search, and we hope to see you here at The Rock.